If you're thinking about Ozempic or Mounjaro, give me the next few minutes because knowing what these drugs actually do to your body will affect you both short-term and long-term. In 2005, the FDA approved a new drug for type 2 diabetes. The makers expected it to lower blood sugar, and it sure did. But then something happened that nobody planned for. People on the drug started losing weight. 30 pounds, 50, some even lost 80 pounds. And then it got strange. Their blood pressure dropped. Their hearts got stronger. People with failing kidneys saw the damage slow down. People who couldn't sleep through the night because they kept stopping breathing, a condition known as sleep apnea, suddenly could. Women who hadn't had a regular period for years started having them. One class of drugs doing a list of things that on the surface have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Here's a question that should be bothering you right now. How does a single medication fix your heart, your kidneys, your sleep, and your hormones all at once? Those are different organs, different problems, different parts of your body. For almost 20 years, that question didn't have a clean answer. It does now. And the answer is the reason I'm making this video. Because once you understand what these drugs are actually doing, you'll realize almost everything you've been told about them, the headlines, the before and after photos, the fighting online about whether they're good or bad, is arguing about the wrong thing entirely. I'm Dr. Amin Hedayat. I'm a triple board certified physician and a medical school assistant clinical professor. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through it like a forensic analysis because this topic deserves precision. I'll also tell you the one thing that decides whether these drugs actually change your life or quietly set you up to end up worse than when you started. That part comes near the end. It's usually the part that the commercials like to put it in smaller captions or say it very quickly. One quick thing first. If you've ever felt confused or judged about these medications, type "I'm here" in the comments. I want to see how many people are in the same boat. It also helps me know who I'm talking to, and it helps this reach other people asking the same questions. Let me take you back to where this drug came from because the origin hides the first clue. In the 1980s, a group of scientists were studying a hormone your gut makes. A hormone is basically a chemical messenger. Your body uses it to send instructions from one place to another, like a text message between organs. This particular messenger had a long name, glucagon-like peptide 1. Most people are familiar with the abbreviated form GLP-1. The scientists who pieced it together, names like Abner, Moschoff, and Holst, noticed something interesting. Your gut released this messenger when you ate, and the message it carried was clever. It told the body to release insulin, the hormone that pulls sugar out of your blood, but only when blood sugar was actually high. That word "only" is the first clue, so hold on to it. Because for the next 20 years, almost everyone focused on the wrong half of the story. They saw a blood sugar drug. They built a blood sugar drug. The first one, approved in 2005, was even based on a chemical found in the venom of a lizard called Gila monster, because the lizard version lasted longer in the body than ours does. So we had a diabetes drug, and it worked. But remember what people noticed. The weight fell off. The hearts got healthier. Things started improving and had nothing to do with blood sugar. Now, if you only think of it as a blood sugar drug, that makes no sense at all. A blood sugar drug should technically affect blood sugar. So either the drug was doing something extra by accident, which is what most people assumed, or two, that we had fundamentally misunderstood what this messenger was doing in the first place. Guess what? It turned out to be the second one. And this is the part that took 20 years to accept. Let's talk about the detail that cracked the case open. When researchers ran the big trials, the heart benefits showed up very quickly. In one major study that I'll show you in a minute, hearts started getting protected within weeks, long before people had lost any meaningful weight. Think about what that means. If the drug only helped your heart by helping you lose weight, the heart benefit couldn't possibly arrive before the weight did, but it did. So the weight loss wasn't causing other benefits. The weight loss and the other benefits were both being caused by something else, something upstream, something we've been staring at for 2 decades and never named correctly. What was it? GLP-1 was never really a blood sugar messenger. Blood sugar was just one of the things it talked to. GLP-1 is closer to a master signal, one message your gut sends out after you eat. And that single message goes to organs all over your body at the same time, telling each one to calm down and run cleanly. It tells your pancreas, the organ that makes insulin, release insulin, but only as much as you really need. Don't flood the system. It tells your liver, stop dumping extra sugar in the blood. We've got plenty coming from this meal. It tells your stomach, slow down. Don't empty so fast. Let's handle this food gradually. It tells your brain, a small control center near the base called the hypothalamus, we're satisfied now. You can stop eating. It tells the cells that drive inflammation, settle down. And inflammation, by the way, is just your body's emergency response. The same thing behind swelling and redness, except when it runs all the time in the background, it quietly damages everything. And it tells the lining of your blood vessels to stay smooth and flexible. Now read that list back. Only one of those messages is about appetite. Just one. The rest are about sugar, inflammation, and the health of your blood vessels, which happens to be the exact things behind heart disease, kidney disease, and most of what wears the body down as we age. So these drugs were never weight loss drugs. They turn up the volume on a master signal your body is supposed to send on its own. Weight loss is just the one effect everyone could see in the mirror. The deeper effects, the heart, the kidney, the inflammation, were happening quietly the whole time. Now, a fair question. If your body already makes the signal, why would anyone need a drug for it? Because for a lot of us, the signal has gone quiet. And that has everything to do with how we live now. That's the next piece. And it's where this stops being about a drug and starts being about you. But before that, here's a line I promise would matter most. And I want to plant it now, so it's in your head. These medications are a bridge. But a bridge is only worth building if you know where you're walking on the other side. We come back to it, and it's the difference between this working and backfiring. So why would a healthy signal stop working? Picture a smoke alarm. When it works, it goes off the moment there's a problem, then quiets down once the air clears. Now imagine you've burnt toast every morning for 10 years. Eventually, you start ignoring the alarm. It's still beeping, but you've just stopped hearing it. That's roughly what happens with GLP-1 in modern life. I'll tell you 3 of the most common things that turn the volume down. The first is ultra-processed food. That's food built in a factory to be easy to overeat. Chips, soda, packaged snacks, most of them middle aisles of a grocery store. When you eat whole, real food, your gut releases a strong burst of GLP-1. When you eat processed food, that burst is weak. Eat that way for years, and the signal you depend on after every meal barely shows up. The second is chronic inflammation. Remember, inflammation is the emergency response that's supposed to switch on, do its job, and switch off. When you sleep badly, live under constant stress, and carry extra fat deep in your belly, that emergency response never fully switches off. And there's another twist that you should be aware of in your health journey. That low constant inflammation makes your body listen to GLP-1 even less. The third is insulin resistance. This one's a big one, so let me make it simple. Insulin is the hormone that knocks on your cells and says, open up, let this sugar in. When your cells hear the knock all day, every day, they stop answering. That's insulin resistance. The cells have stopped opening the door. And when the system gets noisy and broken, the GLP-1 signal gets drowned out with it. Put those 3 together and you get most of the adult population walking around with a master signal that's barely a whisper. Now the medication makes sense. When someone takes a GLP-1 drug, they're not adding a strange chemical to the body. They're turning the volume back up on a signal the body was built to make, but stop making loudly enough. Which brings us back to the bridge. The drug turns the signal up from the outside. But the things that turn your signal down in the first place, such as the food you eat, the sleep, the stress, the inflammation, are still there. The drug doesn't fix those. It covers them. And that sets up the single most important fact in this entire video. But before I tell you this, I have to clear away 2 myths that are keeping people from understanding any of this. There are 2 loud groups online fighting about these drugs. And once you see both myths, the truth becomes clear. Myth number 1 is that these are the miracle. This is the hype crowd, the before and after photos, the I lost 60 pounds, ask me how, the influencers selling cheap copies of the drugs out of nowhere, the clinics handing them out like vitamins. Their myth and misunderstanding is that the drug is the whole answer. Take the shot, watch the fat melt like butter in a hot pan. Done. Here's why that's a myth, and it connects straight back to the bridge. If the drug only turns the signal up from the outside and you change nothing underneath, then the moment you stop the drug, the signal drops back. The hunger comes roaring back, and the weight usually comes back too. And it's often come back past where you started. That's not the drug failing. That's a bridge built to nowhere. They walked halfway across and turned around. Now let's talk about myth number 2, the poison group. This is the doom crowd. The drugs will destroy your muscles. They'll give you cancer. They're a scam. And my least favorite one, that losing weight with help is somehow cheating. Let me take these one at a time because there are small pieces of truth buried in the fear. Starting with muscle loss, it's true that when you lose weight fast in any way, including plain diet and exercise, some of what you lose is muscle. The real question is whether these drugs make that worse and whether you can prevent it. The answer is that with enough protein and some strength training, muscle loss on these drugs looks about the same as muscle loss from any other method. The fix is simple, and I'll give it to you later. Lift something heavy and eat your protein to minimize the issue. Next is cancer. This fear comes from one specific rare thyroid cancer seen in animal studies. It's serious enough that there's a clear rule. If you or your close family have had medullary thyroid cancer, a specific rare type, these drugs aren't for you. That's a real line and doctors respect it. But the broad idea that these drugs cause cancer in general has not held up in the large human trials, at least to date. Side effects, real and serious, but mostly manageable under close supervision of an experienced physician who is knowledgeable about metabolic health. And the moral one, the idea that you have to suffer to deserve to be healthy. I'll be blunt, I don't accept that. We don't tell someone with high blood pressure they're cheating for taking a pill instead of just white-knuckling it. Suffering is not the price of admission to a healthy body. So both crowds are damaging the truth. One says the drug is everything. The other says the drug is evil. The truth sits in the middle, and it's more useful than either. These are powerful tools. In the right person working with the right doctor alongside real changes underneath, they can do extraordinary good. Used as a shortcut with nothing underneath, they disappoint. And sometimes they backfire, which is the whole reason that bridge line matters. So let me finally pay it off. Whether one of these drugs change your life or quietly wrecks it comes down to a single idea. The drug is technically a bridge. It's not the destination. It's like using crutches while you're healing from a broken leg. The destination is the work that turns your own signal back up. The food, the environment, the movement, the sleep, the lowered hidden inflammation. That's the side of the river you're trying to reach. The drug just gets you across when the current is too strong to swim on your own. People who built that destination while they're on the bridge tend to keep their results, often for life, sometimes even after they come off the medication. People who treat the bridge as the destination walk halfway out, stop, and get swept back worse than before. So if you and your doctor ever decide a weight loss drug makes sense for you, here's the work that makes it actually last. I think of it as the 5 foundations, but there is more layers to this that I teach in the inner circle. This is general education and not personal medical advice. What's right for you is a conversation between you and your own physician or dietitian. Starting with foundation 1, protein. When the drug quiets your appetite, you eat less. So every bite has to count more. The biggest mistake people make is eating their same old diet, just smaller, and losing muscle instead of fat. The general guidance experts point to for protecting muscle during weight loss is meaningfully more protein than the standard recommendation. The exact number depends on your body, your kidneys, and your goals. So set it with your doctor or dietitian. Real food does it best. Eggs, meat, fish, chicken, Greek yogurt, beans, tofu. So you have a variety of options. Foundation 2 is strength training. Think of it as muscle insurance. Every pound you lose, your body tries to take some from muscle. Lifting tells your body, no, keep the muscle. Burn the fat instead. You don't need a gym or a trainer. You need a couple of sessions a week and the basic movements. Push, pull, squat, hinge, carry. This way, someone on these medications can minimize the muscle loss. The type of strength training should be determined and cleared by your clinician based on your restrictions and medical history. Foundation 3, handling side effects the smart way. If a drug is part of your plan, the side effects usually track with how fast the dose climbs. How a medication is started and adjusted is your prescribing physician's call, not something to change on your own. The everyday comfort tricks are simple. Drink enough water. Eat fiber from real food like vegetables, berries, oats, and beans. Smaller, slower meals. Stop when you're no longer hungry, not when you're stuffed. Make sure you double check fiber with your physician because some underlying conditions may not handle increased fiber well. Foundation 4, track the right things. Most people stare at the scale. I think it's the least useful number you've got. The scale jumps around with water, sleep, and what's in your gut. Watch better signals instead. Your waist, your strength, your energy, your sleep. For women, whether your cycle becomes regular, and the lab markers your doctor follow over time. Foundation 5, and this is the one that ties it all together. The habits are what you keep. Whether you stay on the medication and how you'd ever come off of it are decisions that belong to your prescribing physician. But the research is clear on one thing, and it's the most important sentence I'll say today. The people who keep the protein, the training, the sleep, and the food quality tend to hold on to their results. The people who lean on only the drug and change nothing underneath lose them when the drug stops. The medication, if you use it, is the bridge. The foundations are the place you're trying to reach. Please let me know in the comments which of these 5 is the one you already know you've been skipping. Tell me in the comments in one word: protein, lifting, sleep. I read the comments and they tell me what to focus on next. Now zoom out all the way because there's a bigger picture here. For 50 years, we've treated obesity, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver, the hormone condition in women now called PMOS, formerly known as PCOS, sleep apnea, and a dozen other problems as separate diseases. Different specialists, different drugs, different waiting rooms. But look at what they share underneath: inflammation, insulin resistance, a metabolism that's lost its rhythm. They're not really separate diseases. They're the same fire, breaking out in different rooms of the same house. For decades, all we had were buckets of water for each room. A blood pressure pill here, a cholesterol pill there, a breathing machine for the sleep apnea, a different drug for the hormones. Each one chasing a symptom in one room while the fire kept spreading through the walls. Then these drugs showed up, and almost by accident, we found something that doesn't chase one room. It turns down the heat in the whole house at once. It calms the inflammation, settles the insulin system, protects the blood vessels, quiets the hunger, helps the kidneys, steadies the hormones. Let me show you the actual evidence. A large heart study called SELECT, published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2023, followed more than 17,000 people with heart disease who were overweight but didn't have diabetes. The drug cut major heart events, heart attacks, strokes, and heart-related deaths by about 20%. And remember the clue from the beginning. The protection started showing up within weeks, long before the weight came off. The weight wasn't doing the work. The signal was. A kidney study called FLOW, published in 2024, followed over 3,500 people with diabetes and kidney disease. The drug cut the risk of kidney failure and death by 24%. A sleep study published in 2024 tested one of these drugs in people with serious sleep apnea. At the higher dose, up to half of them improved so much they no longer met the line for the disease. And in women with PCOS, now known as PMOS, studies show better insulin function, more regular cycles, and higher natural pregnancy rates. I'll be honest with you about the strength of the evidence here. The weight and insulin findings are solid. The cycle and hormone findings are real, but rest on smaller studies. So I hold them a little more loosely. Look at the list again. Heart, kidneys, sleep, hormones, the exact mystery from the opening. And now you know the answer. One signal turned back up, reaching the whole body at once. That's not a weight loss drug. That's something we didn't have a name for until recently. Before we get to what's next, I want to give you something for free. I put together a short companion guide that walks through the published evidence on these medications, fully referenced, organized as a starting point for the conversation with your physician. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Everything in this video is a starting point. Metabolic health is a long, layered subject, and most people do better with structure, support, and other people walking the same road. That's why I built something called the Get Uninflamed Inner Circle. Inside, I teach the foundations in practical day-to-day actions. How to build meals that wake up your own GLP-1. How to protect your muscle. How to bring down inflammation with real, sustainable habits, not gimmicks. How to walk into your doctor's office ready. And a community of people doing the work together. Let me be clear about what it is and isn't. It's education. It's a place to learn and build new habits and feel less alone. It's not medical care. Joining doesn't make me your personal doctor. It's not a replacement for your own physician, your own labs, or your own treatment. Every member is encouraged to work with your own healthcare team for medical decisions. What I can give you is honest, evidence-based education delivered with the care this subject deserves. What you do with it alongside your own doctor is up to you. The link is in the description. Let's go back to the mystery we started with. One drug, healthier hearts, stronger kidneys, better sleep, steadier hormones, a list that made no sense. These drugs are not weight loss drugs. They turn up a master signal your body was always supposed to send, and modern life turned down. Weight loss was just the part you could see in the mirror. The real work was happening everywhere else. And they can be a powerful bridge, but a bridge only matters if you walk all the way across it. The far side is the food, the movement, the sleep, the lowered inflammation. That's what your body keeps after the bridge is gone. That's the part the commercials don't cover, and now you know it. If you're thinking about one of these medications, don't fall for the miracle crowd and don't fall for the poison crowd. Sit down with a knowledgeable doctor, look at your numbers, and personalize your health journey and build the far side of the bridge mindfully. 3 quick things before you go. If this gave you even one moment of clarity or a concept clicked for you, please hit like. It's the single best thing you can do to put this in front of someone who's still confused and scared. If you're still not subscribed, please subscribe and ring the notification bell. I aim to create a new video every week to teach you real science in plain language without marketing hype. And in the comments, tell me the one thing about these drugs that confused you the most today. I try to read all comments, and your questions become my next videos. If you want me to go deeper on one piece, muscle and protein, PCOS, PMOS, long-term safety, or exactly how to build the far side of the bridge, tell me which one. The most requested one is next. You deserve real answers. Stay uninflamed, and I'll see you in the next video.